Hello and welcome. This is Jenks Knits. I'm David and this is episode 2 of my knitting podcast. So welcome. If you're new here, please give a thumbs up. Big thumbs up really helps the channel. Hit the subscribe button if you want to find out what I continue to work on. And of course head over to the channel where you can watch episode 1 from 2 weeks ago. And I need to not do that on camera, but hey, I'm not editing it again. So when I say do that, I mean keep pushing my glasses up. They keep sliding down, but hey, new glasses needed. Not going to get. Anyway, right, so what have I been working on? Big question. I have no finished objects. I said last time I'm a slow knitter and do jumpers, which we'll talk about a little bit more a bit later. Why I knit what I knit. So I do have a new whip, which I shall show you in a second. But yeah, no finished objects from me over the last 2 weeks. That's not a surprise. I didn't really have much on the needles either when we did the last episode. So I have put this on the needles. It's in chunky wool. So this is the back of a sweater that we've got. We're gonna have, it's ribbed, and then we've got moss stitch coming up. The front will have a cable which I've designed myself, and that's in a book. I think, did I show you that last time? If not, it's a surprise for when I finally get on the front. So it'll have a front panel that will be cabled, it'll have a cable up the sleeve, and the rest of it will be moss stitch. Hence we've got all this moss stitch going on. I don't know if I like it. Let me. There are times when I look at this and I think, oh yes, moss stitch. That's great. That looks really nice. That's going to be nice and warm. And then there's other times when I think, I'm not so sure that I'm keen on that. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see what it's like when it's done. I mean, I'll wear it. Of course, I'll wear it. I've made it, but yeah, we will see. So moss stitch, the ribbing, you'll see we've got a nice big bit of ribbing, nice and big. When I did the last one, I was wearing it last time. I've got it here. So when I did this jumper, for those of you that haven't yet seen it, this is my first sweater made without a pattern. I wore it in the last episode, but you'll notice on the ribbing I didn't do very big ribbing. This is the sleeve, but the bottom was the same size, and so it doesn't really gather itself up like it should, which is a shame because it leaves it all quite loose. And somebody said to me, do bigger ribbing, do more ribbing, and it will gather. So that's what we've done here. It's about 20 rows. Now I will make a confession. Confession time. I made a mistake. And normally, if I make a mistake, I rip back. I can't handle mistakes. But because this was a mistake made all the way down here, I haven't. And you can't even tell what the mistake is, can you? And if you can guess from this what the mistake is, put it in the comments. If you can guess, just have a look. Have a look. Bearing in mind we said it's at the bottom. How many of you have got the mistake? Do you want me to tell you? The ribbing was done on the same needles as the rest. Normally when you do the bottom, you do it on either 1 or 2 sizes down. So this is on 6s. So the ribbing should have been on 5s. 6 mils should have been on 5 mil, but I cast it straight onto the 6 mil needles. So it's been worked on 6 mil needles all the way up. How that will affect it gathering, I don't know, I'm afraid. And it's anybody's guess, but I'll find out when I try it on, when it's made. I'm not going to go back and change it. There's 2 weeks work there. I am pleased with how quickly it's coming on. I mean, it is 2 weeks work, but it's looking quite good, and I can easily be, I'll be over halfway up the back by 2 weeks later. Although I've got a busy 2 weeks coming up. So maybe not, but we'll see. We'll see. So there's that. Now, whilst I've got this in my hand, and one of the comments on the last video from Our Narrowboat Adventure asked how I knit, and you know, continental English, so on and so forth. I knit in the English style. That is, the ball of wool is on my right hand side, the knitting on my left, as you would. But all of the yarn is to the right. But I don't hold my needles like this. I can't. I think I tried it once or twice, and I find that really tricky. The right hand needle gets pinned under the arm. I don't know if you can see that now against me. You can probably see the tip. So that gets pinned there, and then I just work onto that. So let me gather this up. Now the handy thing with doing this, if you were doing it the traditional, this needle does all. So you got this hand pushing the needle, doing the flicking, doing all of that, and all that the left hand does is grasp and release. But with it put underneath the arm, like I do, it means that the putting on of the stitches is done by the left hand. The left hand has to do that, and then the right hand is only doing the throwing of the yarn. So it splits the work between the two hands. So let me now come a bit closer to the camera, and I'm on a knit, so you can now see that with this with the right hand needle stationary, you can see the work that the left hand is doing, and the right hand is only throwing yarn. Okay, so that's how I knit. I find, specifically if I'm on a purl row, I can really get through a purl row quite quickly. A knit row not quite so much, and then this moss stitch with throwing it backwards and forwards. There are times when I really wish I hadn't chosen moss stitch, because throwing it backwards and forwards all the time I am finding to be a bit of a pain, and it chews through the yarn. But chewing through the yarn isn't quite, other than it means I've got to buy more yarn. I mean, the quantity isn't an issue. When I was planning it, I said to Tanya in the craft cabin in Pontypool, that's my chosen yarn store, currently my local one, because it's a stocked item. She ordered in loads and said take what you need. She'd keep it me back until I'm done, and then she'll put the rest, whatever I don't use, she'll keep in her stock. She's been really, really kind with it, because she knows that I'm doing a design rather than working off a pattern. And she said, anything like that, you know, just let her know and she will help. But my plan is, don't tell her, although she may watch. Hey Tanya, if you're watching. My plan is, if it is that I've got enough there for two, then I'm not going to lumber over the whole load of wool, because 20 balls she ordered. Thank you Tanya, you're a star. But I like the colour, so I may end up doing 2 jumpers in it. So anyway, I think you've got enough of how I knit now. I mean, I could sit here now and continue knitting whilst I talk. I'm not going to. I'm going to put it, I wanted to finish. I don't like leaving half a row, but I think I'm going to. So yeah, so the wool, the quantity isn't the problem. But yeah, so it's going to be nice and warm though, because of all the yarn that's going into it. So I mean, you can see that is where the first ball ended. So there, so from there down is one ball, not a lot. But yeah, it's coming on quite nicely. Right, so that's my current whip. I've made no progress on the scarf, so there's no point getting that out. So we'll move on to a newbie that I've got. Right, it's that time of year, the jingle bells are in the air, and we had a craft and chat, a knit and natter Christmas meal, and for it we did a Secret Santa. and here's my Secret Santa gift. Now when I got there, I was deliberately a little bit early, and this was already on the table, and I looked at the two ladies and I said, so one of you was my Secret Santa, at which point one of them went, wasn't me. And so that's how I knew that Linda had got me these. So we had the meal and everything, and then I opened it up, and it was, I'll show it you like this first, 3 balls of yarn. And I was like, oh, yarn, well that's nice, they're nice colours, thank you Linda. And took them out, yeah, they looked quite nice. And then she told me that they are, you can see the content, there we go, 100% wool. I'm going to assume this isn't backwards for you, because a lot of the podcasts I watch, specifically the first episode, they go, oh, I'm sorry, that's backwards, and it isn't. So I'm going to assume that it isn't, and I'm not going to apologise until next episode when I realise it is. So yeah, anyway, 100% wool, and the light in here is reflecting off that quite badly. But yeah, so I said in the last episode that I've never knitted on. I tend to only go acrylic because it's cheap. So that was my Secret Santa. So what we've got are a green colour 45, brim full of Asher on the 45. So it's Drops Alaska, uni colour. So it's a solid colour all the way through. Nice sort of khaki green, and then 2. They're grey, but they've got a hint of a purple to them. And again, it's Drops Alaska, and then the 3 of them together go like that. So, and I was torn between what do I do with them. Do I do a hat, because there's enough there for a hat, or I'm getting, specifically when we had the cold spell last week or the week before, getting really cold hands and fingers, and I'm thinking about buying some fingerless mitts. So she said, well, why not make them? So that's what they're going to be. But they're going to be like fingerless mittens with then a cover to go over the fingers that you pin back. So fingerless mittens with a flap. So the ribbon at the bottom will be, at the bottom across here will be green. Then the actual glove itself will be in the grey, and then the flap will have a nice green flap. So yeah, that'll be that. So that is to go on. Now that I've shown you, I can cast them on. So that's them, and that's what we are going to be making. Now the reason why I was thinking hat or mitts. I don't normally wear a hat, I wear a flat cap. But I don't like knitting things that I'm not going to use. So this is today's little discussion. What I knit and why. You may note last time I'd made a scarf, I've made a jumper for me, I've made a jumper for a kid that is now far too big for it. What else did I show? I've got the scarf that I'm designing that's for Mum, and I'm going to be making a scarf for somebody else. So you'll find a lot of scarves, a lot of jumpers. I've got the jumper I'm currently working on. And the reason being, I like to knit for practical reasons. So it's no good me knitting something and then it's sitting in a cupboard, or it just going with one outfit. I don't like to be like that. If I'm going to knit something, I'm going to use it. And that's where scarves, I've got a scarf. I don't really need another scarf. So unless it's for somebody else, I'm not going to make a scarf. Same when I've done my fingerless mitts, I'll then have some fingerless mittens, some gloves. So I won't need to make another pair of gloves unless I need a better colour for some reason. Then I might. But other than that, so I really struggle to find things to knit that are practical and usable. Knitting for other people is quite good, but sometimes they then have deadlines and sizing and all that type of stuff, which is why scarves at the moment, I've got 2 scarves for people that are planned. One of them's going to be put on hold because I'm about to use the needles for that. So yeah, jumpers therefore becomes quite big, because a jumper, you don't mind a jumper being in the drawer, because if you don't wear it this week, you can wear it next week or the week after. So I seem to be leaning a lot towards jumpers, sweaters, things like that. But they take a long time to make. That is one thing I'm noticing. So if you have any ideas of practical things to make that I can use, that I could need more than one of, that'll be much needed. Because I do enjoy knitting, but I get frustrated with jumpers all the time. I mean, this took ages to make, about 5-6 months, and in the end, as I was getting near the end of it, and I needed to cast on the final sleeve, and I was like, I'm sick of this thing, just absolutely sick of it. I mean, I'm really pleased now it's done, great, really happy, that's why we're making another one. But as I was working up the final sleeve, it was just like, can this not be done already? So that is the drawback to doing jumpers, but the satisfaction you've got when you're wearing something that you've made, there's nobody else going to have one like this at all. Even if they bought the same wool, they won't have made the same mistake with the collar and the sizing and everything. And so yeah, if you haven't made the jumper, go and find a pattern, make a jumper or cardigan or something like that. Make something big, have a big project, because the reward when you've done it, the payoff is brilliant. But just be warned, it is a long process, and we're doing it again. So yeah, that's really my knitting is. We do that. Now there's a lot of waffle going on, which probably means I'm near the end of my material for this video. So I think we'll wrap it up there. But yeah, so there we go. New wool, really happy with that. Thank you very much, Linda. I cannot wait to get started on these mittens. Get the wool on the needles and get started on the mittens. That's what I was trying to say. Yeah, so, and it is wool, and I'll find out what it's like. It's supposed to be warmer than acrylic because it's a natural fibre. We'll find out. So in the next one you'll see that. You'll see the progress that I'm making on the jumper, and I think that's me done. So just a short one today then, but you know, we've explained how I knit, why I like to knit what I like to knit, new wool and the progress. So yeah, so have a fantastic couple of weeks. I shall hopefully be back in 2 more weeks with, or hopefully we'll be under, I've done under the arm and we'll be up to about here on the back, and we might have a new pair of mittens depending on what we get on. I might have finished a mitten, we'll see, but that's to be seen. That's a big surprise. Even I don't know what's going to happen in 2 weeks, so how on earth you're supposed to know? I don't know. Yeah, so thank you all for watching, and whilst we're doing the thank yous to everybody who watched my first episode and gave it a like and hit the subscribe button and then took the time to leave a comment as well, much appreciated. It's great to see that people are enjoying the content and have actually taken the time to stop and watch me and me babbling on about my knitting, and we're babbling again. So thank you all very much. If you have got to this point and you're still enjoying it and you want to find out what the mittens are going to look like, what the jumper's going to come out like, how my cable patterns are going to work, hit the subscribe button, turn on the notification bell, then you'll get your notice in 2 weeks when I put the next one up. Give this video a thumbs up as a starting channel, that'll help. And thank you all very much, and I will see you all in the next one.